All right, listen, I'm going to tell you something you've probably never heard before. Every single time I spend money, I'm actually becoming richer. And I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but this is insane. This is like a wealth building hack that has completely revolutionized how I'm going to achieve financial freedom. And so what I'm doing essentially is every time I spend money on something like Amazon or I renew my Netflix subscription, I'm actually doubling down by investing in the stocks as well. And the impact that this has on your wealth is completely mind-boggling. Let me show you what I mean. Now, before we jump into this new addition to my investment strategy, I want to talk about the last video that I released, and it talked about why I wasn't investing as heavily into my retirement accounts. Now, that is not going to be the right move for everybody, and I just want to explain something a little bit deeper. You see, if your company offers something like a 401k match up to a certain percentage, it's usually going to be way better to go after that before doing anything else because you get free money out of that. Now, if I had a 401k match, I would totally be taking advantage of that. And then I actually still love the Roth IRA. Now, I have consistently been maxing out my Roth IRA, and I think it sounded almost like I wasn't going to keep doing so in the last video that I released. However, that is such an integral part to my strategy. Now, I'll talk about why that almost guarantees that I'll become a millionaire by the time that I retire. However, I just want to note that when it comes to me, I like to have access to my investments and my money a little bit sooner. There's other opportunities that come up. I'm saving for another piece of real estate, and this is really going to be important to me. Now, with the Roth IRA, you can max out your contributions and you can withdraw your contributions completely penalty free. Where you end up paying penalty is if you're going to withdraw above your contributions into the gains that you've made in the accounts. So that's something that I just needed to note because it is really important. So here's what it looks like. By consistently maxing out my Roth IRA and assuming an average return of 8%, pretty conservative for the stock market, that $7,000 a year grows into $1.42 million by the time I'm 65. And remember, all of that is tax-free. The best part is, all in, I've only invested $159,000 out of my pocket. But as you can see, I already have $24,500 in my Roth IRA, which means at this rate, I'm going to retire with an additional $400K and have over $1.8 million. So I'm feeling pretty secure about my retirement. Now, here's the thing that I realized though, just maxing out my Roth IRA, it isn't enough for me anymore. I want to grow my wealth faster and I want to have more control over my investments. So I started doing something completely new. Every time I spend money on non-essential items, I match that spending with an investment in the same company. So for example, just to break it down a little bit more, on Amazon, if I spend $100 on Amazon, I'm investing $100 into Amazon stock. If I'm paying $15 a month for a Netflix subscription, well, I'm actually buying $15 worth of Netflix shares as well. Essentially, every time I spend money on something that I enjoy, I'm going to be building wealth by investing in that company's future. And if you think about it, you are buying products from these companies, you are supporting them, and they have the opportunity to support you back financially as well. So it's really cool. Okay, so let's talk about how this works in the real world. You see, this is an Xbox One controller. And when the Xbox One came out, I spent about $499 on the console itself. Now you factor in Xbox Live, all the games that I bought, everything that went into that first year, it was probably around $1,000 all in. Now, if I had invested that initial $1,000 instead, today it would be worth well over $11,600. It would be continuing to grow. And the cool part is that as Xbox releases new consoles, they come out with new systems. I could have just dipped back into that investment, never had to end up saving more money to go towards another Xbox console because that initial investment would essentially pay for itself. So it's really cool to think about in that way. And that's just one use case scenario. Now, let's look at how the numbers break down. Let's say I'm roughly spending $500 a month on non-essential items, things like tech, dining out, entertainment, and subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, or Disney+. By matching that spending with investments, I'm adding an additional $6,000 a year directly into my portfolio. Now, over the same 37 years, with an extra $6,000 invested annually at an 8% return, I'm still looking at an additional over $1 million that would be added by the time I hit retirement age. And you add that over $1 million to the Roth IRA strategy of $1.8 million. And now my total retirement is essentially $2.82 million by the time I hit age 65. Plus, I have more liquid access to the funds that I'm investing with in a non-retirement account. Now, one of the best things about this strategy is that it really keeps your lifestyle creep in check. And if you think about it, it just makes sense. If you are doubling the cost of everything, you're kind of paying a short-term penalty for everything that you're buying. But realistically, that penalty, well, it's actually the most beneficial thing in this scenario because that could turn into an investment that's worth many times over the amount that you invested. So in the Xbox scenario, to date, that'd be 11 times the initial value that I put in. But think about in the future, the returns that that could make. Now, that's just one product example. There have been so many in my lifetime that would benefit from the same situation. So it's really cool to think about in that sense. And I get it. I mean, it's easy to get comfortable spending more and more money, especially as you go throughout life, you start making more money. It's just easier to fall in that trap of consumerism. But the more you can fight back and the more you can build out your financial future, the better you're going to be. And I truly believe that if this is something that I can do, if this is something that helps me achieve financial freedom even sooner, like anybody else out there could do the same thing. And it really just seems like a no-brainer in my mind. And hear me out. I know that there's going to be an entire other side to this saying that it's not possible. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. There's no opportunity for me to double my spending and invest at the same time. And I'm just going to say that I probably think like 80 to 90% of the people watching this video, that's probably not the case. And that's an excuse that I have also used in the past, but it takes being determined. It takes wanting to change your future and truly identifying what you're spending your money on, because most of the time it's just the simple fact that people are too lazy to go through and audit their own spending. And I'll be the first to admit this is an extremely hard habit to build at first, but I promise you over time it will become easier. And the cool thing is I'm going to document all of this on my channel. I'm going to show you my spending habits, break down my budget, and also all of the investments that I'm making so we can chart this. And then in the years to come, look back at this moment and realize how impactful this decision was. And I'm super excited for that. Now, you might be wondering, how can you start doing this today? And it is really simple. There's kind of just 3 steps. One is track your spending. Use a budgeting spreadsheet like one that I'm going to be releasing here in the future. You're going to find the companies that you're already spending money on, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and so on, and set a goal that every non-essential purchase you make, why don't you invest in that company as well? Whether it's $20 or $200, hey, consistency is key. Now, I do want to note that some people will say that it is extremely risky to be investing in individual stocks. So there is a caveat to this that I think could be a valuable option for a lot of people, and that's just to invest in a market tracing ETF or an index fund that traces the market. Now, the reason why that's so powerful is that because on average, you can expect to get anywhere from an 8 to 10% return. It's a little bit more proven and it's just less risk than investing in individual companies. However, I feel comfortable with it, and that's the approach that I'm taking. And again, these are all going to be your financial decisions. I'm not an advisor by any means. I just love sharing my strategies online and exactly what I'm doing. So keep that in mind. And for me, I'm in a really cool spot because maxing out my Roth IRA nearly guarantees that I'm a millionaire by 65. And I'm going to be matching every non-essential purchase. And that's an additional, over $1 million going into my account. And by doing this, I'm keeping my spending habits in check, avoiding lifestyle creep, and turning every purchase into a wealth building opportunity. What's cool too is that I have more access to the funds than I would in pretty much any other account. It's really liquid. So if another opportunity comes up, say another real estate property, I can dip into these funds to put into real estate, and it's not locked away forever. So it's really exciting in that sense. Now, if you guys do like this strategy, I talk about it a little bit more in this video here, where it's the strategy that solved my spending addiction. Go check it out here. In the future, I'm going to be releasing videos that are going to break down all of the spending that I'm doing, the investments and the returns. And over here, click here, you can subscribe to my newsletter, get a bunch of different financial tips, things that I'm doing throughout my life to make and save more money. Thank you guys for checking out this video, and have a great day.